Good evening. Welcome to the Talk It Out podcast. My name is Neal Bailey-Harper, and tonight we're playing basketball. It's the NCAA tournament, everybody. Let's dance. Hey, the music before it gets turned down real low, KC and the Sunshine Band from 1985. Get down tonight. Okay. He found a wave, he rode it, he made some money. They were okay. Live, they were horrible. Just horrible. But, hey, I ain't mad at him. This tournament, man. If you listen to me on Spotify or Anchor or iTunes or Apple Music, any one of those, I talked about the NCAA tournament last week, the first weekend, which is the coolest weekend. This is the best sporting event for me in the United States of America. Pure and simple. It's just the best sporting event because it's real. I mean, it's you got young guys, anywhere from 18 to 24, and yeah, they've been playing basketball all their lives, and a lot of it interconnected together through the AAUs. Now they probably know each other. Some of these guys are big stars. Some of these guys are just 8, 9, ninth man off the bench, but they're college basketball players, having experience, having a time. And when 64, really 68, but you got to explain that first four shit to me. I don't understand how 11 seed has to play its way in. That's a whole other conversation. But when you have these 68 universities getting together, that's another thing. Too many times, and I'm sidetracking myself, but I want to make sure I get this in. Too many times we want to call them the college basketball player is a student athlete. Okay, by and large, 30 to 40 of these basketball players in college in Division 1, 2, or 3 get a shot in the best professional league in the world every year, the NBA. Now, they can go to Greece, Germany, a lot of them do. A lot of them play all over the world, and they probably make decent enough money, tax-free, and find a way to make a living. Because if you have a skill like this, you want to make a living with it. But only 30 or 40 of them get into the NBA. So most of these guys are just playing college basketball because A, it probably gave them a scholarship. B, it's fun. And the tournament so far has been really cool. Right now, we're down to the Final Four. Now, I'm not just making this up. If you listen to my radio thing, I said I thought Texas Tech would win. I thought Purdue would beat Tennessee. I thought that would be a great game. Getting this weekend, man, the two games Duke had last weekend were crazy, okay? For a team that good, they won them both. But I remember saying to myself, they can't keep playing one-point games, especially when they get to these power conference teams, because they played them too. And it's not going to be the same. Those layups that young Johnny Dawkins missed, that was his name, not Johnny, but his dad. Man, that story was something else. That story is really something else. I'm going to get to that in a minute. But here's the other thing. Last year, the NCAA tore up the contract they had with the networks. This is King Harvest. Yeah. When that moon gets big and bright, it's a super dancing in the moonlight. I want to say 76. So you see the theme here. Well, here's the deal. They tore up the contract last year that they had with CBS, TNT, True TV, TBS. Now, just for the tournament. Not for any conference games. Not for any regular season games. Just the NCAA tournament now has a 7-year, $10.8 billion deal with the NCAA. Okay? The teams are paid now in the tournament by units. So if your team gets into the tournament, and you see I'm wearing my colors today, Eagles, North Carolina Central. 3 years in a row, we're right across the street maybe 5 miles away from Duke University, right in Tobacco Road. The cool thing about us now is that we're starting to make money for our athletic department. If you get into the tournament, then there's $10 million that goes to your conference over 6 years, put out over 6 years. So I go back to school at homecoming now, and we look nice. The band looks good. The uniforms look good. The football team looks good. Now, here's the other thing. Duke being right across the street from us, I've had the pleasure of meeting Mike Krzyzewski. I think he's a really nice guy. And he's opened up the doors to Central, this black college, even though our football team has to go over there every year, and we firmly get our ass kicked, but we leave with a nice big check so we can have more football players come to play football at our school. Okay, it's all works out. It all works out. But I think the players should be paid. A lot of people don't. That's cool. I think they should. I think when I hear so many people talking about and these so many pregame shows and the pregame show to the pregame shows and this and that and this and that. Now, the athletes get a scholarship if they decide to use it. The scholarship should also be available for their whole life. In other words, they play basketball in your school for 2 years. They should have the right to come back and use that scholarship because they earn your school so much money. Here's the other thing. I don't know this for a fact, but I'm wondering, during the tournament, are the parents of every player flown to the tournament sites? And if they aren't, why not? Everybody probably can't afford to fly around. This weekend in D.C., the Final Four is in Minneapolis. Hotels, accommodations, are the parents taken care of? For their child agreeing to go to your school and your child being seen on national TV and your school making so much money, can you at least fly the parents in? Again, I'm not sure that they don't, but I'm not sure that they do either. Bette Midler, do you want to dance? And you know I'm gonna get to this is the melodramatic part of the tournament, the really cool part, the part where you see somebody like Rodney Murphy, or Jordan Murphy from Minnesota. All-time leader in the University of Minnesota is in basketball. Minutes played, games played, rebounds, second all-time in the Big Ten in rebounds. When they went out last weekend in the tournament, he played more minutes than anybody ever in school, in the history of that school. He got back spasms in the first half. Couldn't play. His team was beaten, but with 2.5 minutes left in the game, young Pitino, Rick Pitino's son, not Rick Pitino, his son, who's the coach of Minnesota, put him back in the game, even though he could barely move around enough. Every Minnesota fan out there started hollering, Rodney Murphy, or Jordan Murphy, and we call Rodney, wouldn't answer, Jordan Murphy, and then all the fans got into that Jordan Murphy chant. And he cried, because that's the last time he's on that stage. He's not an NBA talent. He could probably play basketball somewhere else, but that was a special moment. Watching Krzyzewski. See, I was in Durham, North Carolina, when he had just gotten to Duke. When Johnny Dawkins got there from D.C. Great basketball player. Tommy Amaker, Johnny Dawkins, Gene Banks came from Philadelphia. All these guys came. That's where Krzyzewski started putting his foot down. And to see Johnny Dawkins, who was on Krzyzewski's bench for 15 years as an assistant, go to be a coach at Stanford, come back to coach Central Florida, and his son had the game of his life against really another grandfather of his. Okay? Krzyzewski's like his other grandfather. And he almost won the game, but he lost the game at the very end. But to see Dawkins and Krzyzewski at the midcourt, who can imagine, man, the growth that they've amounted for each other, and then all the people that surround them. That's fertile ground. That was a special game. I'm a Carolina guy, okay? I'm a Carolina guy. But the backstory is the backstory. And that's a very cool backstory. Speaking of which, my Tar Heels. Hey, if we're going to go now, you go down getting your ass whipped. And we got our ass whipped. Here's the deal. Basketball at its core is a make or miss game. And when you're watching that game and you see Auburn flying up the fucking court, throwing threes up, little Harper running up and down, layups, this and that, and Carolina missing, it's demoralizing. And if it's demoralizing to me, it's demoralizing to them. Hey, this is the man, David Bowie. Never got enough credit. He was the icon of icons in rock music, guys. 70s and 80s. Everything about him was, he was inside the song. Put on your red shoes and dance the blues. He's as smooth as it gets. Listen to the movie The Falcon and the Snowman. This Is Not America. David Bowie. The great David Bowie. Let's Dance from 78, I think. So, let's get back to dancing. Who do I like now? There is Texas Tech. First time in the Final Four. They're going to play Michigan State. They might as well put gloves on. They're two of the best defensive teams in the country. They might as well just put gloves on, come on out, and talk about each other's mothers and start swinging. And whoever makes the most shots wins. I think Michigan State would win. Michigan State Duke game was so good though. It really was. I just like seeing these guys. As long as you know what, it's when Carolina's out of it, I just want to see everybody play well. I want to see everybody represent themselves well. Because here's the deal: Virginia plays Auburn in the Final Four. Now Auburn beat the Tar Heels' ass, but Virginia this year in the tournament, I was so glad. In the second half, they opened up that can of whip ass on Gardner Webb because had these kids lost for the second year in a row to a 16 seed, yes, it's just a basketball game, but that shit would wear on you for several years. And it has to cross over into other things. See, here's the beauty in these in these tournaments. All of these young people are connecting with other young people. Some they might have, some they probably wouldn't have. They're building lifelong bonds. That one shining moment's no bullshit, okay? They are building lifelong bonds. It's got to be hard for them not to see themselves and read about themselves and have that get to you. But the beauty in the NCAA tournament is everybody has some physical talent, some more than others. But where Zion can jump over the moon, Cassius Winston is smart as shit. So how much of that 18-year-old superhuman talent can be matched by 22-year-old street basketball knowledge? And then it comes down. With all the flying, all the jumping, all the running, all the screaming, it comes down to a foul shot. It comes down to an 18-year-old kid standing on the foul line with 25,000 people in the stands and 25 million people watching. And people say he ain't thinking about it. Okay. You can look in his eyes, y'all. Some of them just can make that shot. Some of them can't. And the crazy thing is, this kid is going to go on to make millions of dollars next year in the best professional basketball league in the world. Barrett will make millions of dollars and will be a very good player. But just like Derrick Rose did for the University of Memphis when they lost to Kansas, and just like he did today, got to make a foul shot. It's free. Enjoy the rest of the tournament. Go Yahoos! Although I think Texas Tech is going to win it. Have a good day. We'll talk this out next week. Hey, the other one's on Anchor. You hear what I talked about last week? I wasn't making it up. I was right. Talk to y'all later. Put on your red shoes and dance the blues. Let's dance, let's dance. I wonder what Zion's going to do in the NBA. We will soon see.